Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Laura Milligan, and I appreciate you joining me today for my Facebook Live. I am always grateful for anyone that wants to watch this, and I also appreciate those of you that watch it on replay. So, thank you for joining me. I have some super cute projects to share with you today. Of course, they're all super cute, right? What isn't cute when you're stamping? Um, but I'm anxious to show you a few things. Let me just check to make sure people are hopping on and I'm in the right place. People can find me. Sometimes that takes a minute. Okay, there's Colleen. Colleen is surprised for she's always right on time. So thank you, Colleen. I appreciate that. And as others hop on, please, let me know, say hello. Let me know if you're watching on replay. Love to know who's on, and I appreciate all your comments. So I'm going to go ahead and flip my phone down. There's Debbie. Hi, Debbie. I'm going to flip my camera view down, and I am going to start with, I'm going to bring in these two cards that I made last week on my Facebook Live. And what I do, as you know, is I always take the cards that I make on my Monday Facebook Lives, and based on comments that I receive, and anyone that shares my posts, I do a random drawing and put everybody's name in a little hat and quote unquote hat, and I pick two names to receive the cards. So I did that. These are the cards I made last week, and so this one, it's a kind of a traditional masculine card, and this one is going to Helen Watkins. So Helen, I will get that in the mail to you this afternoon yet. And then this Scrubs card, I got a lot of comments on this. A lot of people that have family members in the medical field really like this card. And this one is going to Marianne White, who we lovingly refer to as Mrs. White. Hi, Myra. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Debbie. So those will go to you, to Helen and Marianne. I'll get those in the mail today. And so today I am featuring, hi Anne Marie, I am sharing projects using the Hydrangea Hill Suite. This is from our January to June mini catalog. These are gorgeous products, and we featured these in my overnight retreat that I held a few weeks ago down in Amish country in Berlin, Ohio, and I have some additional projects that I'm sharing today. These are not the ones that we did at the retreat, but these products are just so gorgeous, I wanted to share them with you. So this is one of the things as well that I love when Stampin' Up! Does this. They have a suite collection. You can write down this number and get everything in this suite. Now I need to check because some of our dies have been on back order. I'm actually not sure if they're available at this particular moment, but I need to check that. I should have checked that before actually, but the paper, the pastel pearls, this gorgeous ribbon, mercury glass, and then of course the stamp set and the dies, and they're all just beautiful. So I'm going to start out with a card, and this was actually inspired by my sister-in-law Nancy. She sent me this in the mail. She is super talented, and she made this adorable card for me, and I knew that I had to take her idea and run with it. So Nancy, I hope that you, sorry, there's a, here Charlie, come here. A fire truck just went down our street. Charlie, come here. Okay. I'm sorry. Anyway, I knew that when I saw this, I had to take Nancy's idea and run with it. So let me show you what I did. I just tweaked it a little bit, and let me bring in my parts and pieces and my measurements and everything. So I started out with a gorgeous grape card base. I'm going to make this into a slimline card. And so I started out, I cut my slimline 5 inches by 8.5. That is not the normal size I would use for a slimline card, but I purposefully did that because I'm going to be using this designer paper, and you can see how it is actually above the card base. So I made this a little bit smaller, 5 by 8.5, and I scored it at 2.5. Then I took this piece of designer paper, this is 12 by 12. And I want to just show you this gorgeous hydrangea paper. It is just beautiful. And I love hydrangeas. Look how pretty. There's the front side. Oh, I think I missed one. And this is the one that I'm going to use for my card right now. But let me just flip these over too so you can see the back side. Look how pretty. Just gorgeous, gorgeous colors. Hi, Jacqueline. I think it's your birthday. Happy birthday. So I'm going to start with this piece, and I needed paper. I'm going to grab my paper trimmer here. But what I'm going to do is just start and cut, just following. So Sandra's here, and we kept coming up with all these ideas for this morning, for this Facebook Live, and all of a sudden we realized that it was like 10 till 1. So we're like, okay, it's go time. Here we go. Sandra, could I have a paper trimmer, please? Sandra is my sidekick here, and super creative, and we have fun. Thank you. My lifesaver in times like this when I'm doing a Facebook Live. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm just following the edge of this designer paper. Hi, Mary. How are you? Hi, Marsha. Yes, this paper is gorgeous. So now I don't need this whole part, so I'm going to just do a straight cut there just to save a little bit of time. I dropped a couple things. Oh, I dropped my little label on the floor. Okay, so I've just cut along this top piece here, and I'm going to cut this. So my card base is 8.5 inches across. So I'm going to cut this at 8 1/4. So I'm just going to bring my trimmer in and bring this over to 8 1/4. Let me turn this so you can see it. So 8 1/4. Isn't that pretty? All right. Then what I'm going to do is this is another patterned paper. And what I want to do is fold this in half. I'm actually going to I'm going to take a slimline envelope. These are business envelope size 9. And I'm going to go ahead and use this envelope because I want to make sure, of course, this is going to be like a guide for me so that I know that I am positioning this paper in a way that I'm going to be able to use this envelope, because if I put it too high up, of course, it's not going to fit in the envelope. So I'm just going to line up, but I want it to be pretty high as well. So that looks, let me see if I can get it on there straight. That looks pretty good. So I'm actually going to go ahead and add some adhesive right along. Oops. This strip here. Make sure it's straight. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to do the same thing on this end. I'll just pull this back a little bit and add some adhesive there. And I'm going to double check just to make sure that that's going to fit right inside my envelope, and it will. So the next thing I'm going to do is take this beautiful, gorgeous grape ribbon. It's like an organdy and just really soft and nice to work with. And I'm going to wrap this around. Hi, Barbara. Glad to have you joining in. So I'm going to just wrap this around the whole length of my card front and just give a little snip. I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive back here to help hold this in place. of course, Charlie, I don't think Charlie has barked once all morning, but now's the time to bark, apparently. Okay, so I'm going to bring these ends around like that, and they're just going to overlap here. I'm going to put another little bit of adhesive there. Overlap these like that. I love this ribbon. I think it's called Gorgeous Grape. It's gorgeous for a reason, right? Okay, and then I'm gonna take this and pop this up. Now, what you need to be careful of when you do this is not to put any adhesive or dimensionals up at the top here, because that is gonna go above the card base. So let me grab my dimensionals, and I'll just pop these up. I can go a little bit up there like that. Oops. Just put a few of those there. And I'll attach this to my card base. Oh, Marcia, you're like the only one that loves hearing Charlie. That's a sign of a true friend, when your dog is barking and people say it's okay, right? Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to position this. And again, I just want to make sure that that's adhered pretty well. And you can see how it's above the card base. And let's just double check. And it does fit in my envelope, so that's good. And then what I did, you know, in this hydrangea paper, it's one of those papers that is the star of the show. When you have designer paper this beautiful, you don't really need to add a lot. And this card is a perfect example of that. So the next thing I'm going to do is take, this is a die cut, and this was from the Tasteful Labels die. And again, you can see this is the same paper that I used on my bottom little strip there. So I'm going to stamp, I'm going to use my Gorgeous Grape ink. And this is photopolymer, so I am going to bring in my little mat. You know I like my mat. And I have this little grid paper is made for this mat, and also to fit into the Stamparatus. So I like to use that just to kind of protect my surface. I'm going to use this paper, and then with my Gorgeous Grape ink, I'm just stamping "You Make Me Smile." So if you're watching and you leave a comment, you will be entered to win one of these cards next week when I go live again. All right, so now I'm just going to finish this up. I'm going to take some more of my ribbon and tie a bow. This ribbon is actually really easy to work with. Just soft and nice. And I always like ribbon like this because when you make a bow out of this, the knot is flat. You don't end up with like a big knot in your card. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and attach this. And this is going to go right over it like that. I'm going to go ahead and move this up just a titch. And I'll attach this with a glue dot. There's a little bit of adhesive on there anyway. It's kind of sticking on its own, but I'm going to take a glue dot. And I'll put that right there. Just up a little bit like that. And then I'm going to attach this piece like that, and the bow just kind of shows behind it, which I really like that look. And now I'm going to pop this up with some dimensionals. I'm only going to put a dimensional on this side because of the knot here. That's going to pop that up enough. So I'm just going to take a glue dot, put a glue dot on that side, and pull my backing off. And that is going to go right there like that. see if I can get it straight. Okay, so there's the card, and then I'm just going to bring in, these are the pastel pearls that go with this suite. Yeah, this ribbon is really nice. I agree with you, Debbie. Yeah, it makes you feel like spring, and I'll tell you, I feel like spring has arrived here. It's been just beautiful, and I love how these pastel pearls coordinate. Look how well they coordinate with these paper. There's pinks and the lighter purple, almost a really soft off-white lavender, and then the gorgeous grape. So I'm just going to do, I'll take one of these light ones and I'll just tuck it down there like that. So there is my card, and it's going to fold like this. And then what I did on the inside, and I'm going to open this up flat so you can see, I took a piece of the designer paper, which of course is also that same pattern that I used on the front. This card really does, it just makes you feel like spring. Go ahead and attach this. Put that in there. It's always fun to make the inside of your card cute. Now before I attach this, I'm going to bring in another stamp from the stamp set. Here's the stamp set if you want to take a look, and I'm going to use this little cluster of flowers here, which actually coordinate with this designer paper. So I'm just going to do a little stamping in the corner of this piece with my gorgeous grape ink. Just do that about like that, right there. Just sweet and cute. And then I'll just attach this. Yeah, so stamping on designer paper is a good idea, and you get a totally different look. And Colleen, so let me just show you. I think you saw this last week, but that's what I did with this bow tie card. There, in this stamp set, there is a bow tie stamp, and I stamped it on the 3 different patterns of designer paper and then cropped it out with my die cutting machine. Hi, Judy. Hi, Annette. I hope Annette's watching as well. So there's the card, and I would use this envelope. Like I said, it's a business 9 envelope, and if you want to, of course, we always love, you know, making our envelopes look pretty too, and so you could just do a little bit of stamping on that as well, just to make it look pretty. All right, so there's card number 1. What do you think? I love your comments. Give me some hearts and some smiles. I love the encouragement. All right, so there's card number 1. My next card, let's see, where is my next card? Okay, here it is. All right, so my next card uses some of the parts and pieces from the dies. And let's see, let me get all the things over here that I need. I've done some of the stamping ahead on this one and the die cutting just because it saves time, and I'm assuming most of you know how to use the die cut or die cutting machine. All right, so I'm going to start. This is my basic thick cardstock. Thanks for the hearts. I appreciate that. Colleen and Debbie and everyone else, that's fun. The likes, the thumbs up, right? All right, so this card, I have some panels. This is Smoky Slate, and then I have a panel of Whisper White. We made something similar to this at my overnight retreat, but I just tweaked it a little bit for today. So I have a piece of vellum, and I use the Tasteful Textures embossing folder, Tasteful Textile embossing folder. And so that's just going to go on this, and I'm going to be putting an image in the center of this, and I like to cover my adhesive when I'm using vellum, so I know by putting adhesive there, it won't show. And then this little corner of the vellum I have turned up, and all you need to do for that is roll it. Just kind of roll it up like that, and it's going to spring back, but it's kind of a fun look. So I'm going to go ahead and attach my vellum. And really with vellum, it's going to be loose all around the edges, but it's not going to go anywhere. So that's how I would do it. Next, I'm going to attach this panel to my smoky slate. So this afternoon, at some point, I'm just finishing up my blog post for today, and I'll be sharing with you another card with the Hydrangea Haven Suite. So please be sure to visit my blog at lauramilligan.com. All right, so I'm going to attach this next, and this will just be flat on the card as well. And I'll just center this on the front panel. Whoop, like that. Then I took the dies. I'm going to set that aside a minute. I want to bring in the dies so you can see which ones I used. So I used this die, and I used Old Olive cardstock to cut this shape out. And then I used this strip. This is a really cool strip because it cuts individual flowers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9 individual flowers. So that's where these came from. And these I just cut from designer paper. I think oftentimes, you know, we forget about some of the different ways we can use designer paper. So I just cut those out right from the designer paper. And then I wanted to have the detailed die for over these leaves. So I cut that out. That was with that. And then the other piece was this, which is the flower head. And for that one, I also used some of the designer paper. And I love that it has that variation of color, and I just think it looks like a real hydrangea. And so what I like to do with this die in particular is just take, you could use your, I'm using my paper snips now. You could use like your pokey tool, like that, anything like that. I'm not gonna poke all of these out, but I wanted to get quite a few of them because I think it makes it look pretty. So see how it looks? It gives it some dimension. And you know I'm all about dimension, right? Love my dimension. Dimensionals and anything else. So poking that out like that. I think I need to do a couple more. I'm going to do some of these down here. Okay, there's that. And then the other thing I did was I took this little tag, and these are all from these dies, the hydrangea dies. I took this little tag and stamped with love from the stamp set, and then I used this die to cut out the little tag. And I love that this tag even has the little hole in it. It makes it really easy to use. So those are all the parts and pieces of this card. So let me just show you how to put it together. Excuse me. All right, so here's my card base, and we've already got this all ready to go. So now I'm just going to start adding the layers. I'm going to use my liquid glue. And I'm going to start with my stem. This is a brand new thing of glue, so it's really, I just have to use a really light touch because I don't want it to blob all over. Okay. And I'll put this in place just right over those stems. And I love the added detail that this gives. Got a little bit too much glue on there, but that actually is going to be covered up by the tag, and it will for the most part dry clear. Then I'm going to take my flower, and that went right into place. If you're cutting this out and you're not sure, what I do is I just turn it you know, till it lines up, and you can see how all the edges match up. I'm going to pop this up, and I think for this I'm going to use my mini dimensionals. Just put a couple in the center. Yeah, Marsha, I love the little individual flowers. I just think they're sweet. Okay, so that's ready. And again, I'm just gonna turn this till I find where it goes. It goes right there, like that. So I'm going to attach this. Isn't that pretty? Look how pretty. I love all the detail. I just love that. So I'm going to use my Tombow again and just add a little bit of my glue. And I'll position this in place. I think I'll just angle it a little bit. Myra, you're the best. We had a lot of fun at our retreat. Myra was there, and Debbie was there. We had a good crowd, the biggest crowd I've ever had there, so that was kind of fun. So now I'm taking these little individual flowers, and I'm just going to put these here like this, and then I'm going to put one more on top of those, just staggering them a little bit. And then I'm going to take two more and put them down here. I love hydrangeas. I have several of them in my yard, and oh, they're just so beautiful. I actually have some blue ones and some pink ones, and also some white ones. So, okay, so that's going to go there like that. And then I'm just going to finish this up by taking my little tag and putting a piece of linen thread through, and I'm just going to tie a bow. Yes, Marsha, we missed you this year. Okay, so I'm just going to tie a bow. And I'm just going to pull. I like to hold my thumb in the center and just pull that down. And so there's my little tag. And this I am going to pop up, so I'll just use a dimensional. And I'm just going to put that right there. Whoop. Right there like that. And I'm going to add, so I could do the pink on here, but I actually, for this one, I'm going to go ahead and just use some of the Opal Gems, because I think those are pretty too, and I love the white on white look. I always think that's really pretty. So I'm going to just take, these come in 2 sizes. Actually, no, yeah, they do. Okay, so there's a smaller and then a larger. So I'm just going to put a couple of these, just scatter these on here, and then I think I'll put one maybe about right there. So there is that card. And I did another one that I want to show you. It's basically the same thing. It's just the panel is a little bit wider. So it just, you know, it's a personal preference. Which one do you like better? But I think they're both really pretty, and I don't know who wouldn't love to get a card like this. So that's my second project. Yes, Mary, I'm looking for a second job to support my Stampin' Up habit. I think we can all relate. We can all relate. So there's the next one. And then for my last project today, I wanted to combine, I had this idea, and so I'm going to share it with you today. Let me get some stuff out of the way here. Let me clean up a little bit. All right. So this is a fun little project, and okay, so, all right. Just give me 1 second here. I got to get organized. I start doing this, and then, you know, the outskirts here, all around here gets cluttered up with all the things to do these projects. I'm going to set that aside too. So I need to be able to find things. I'm going to use some blends, and I'm going to make an Easter basket. And it's funny because I am a morning, anyone that knows me knows I'm a morning person. And sometimes, you know, I wake up, to be honest with you, sometimes I get up on Monday mornings and I'm not sure what I'm going to do for my Facebook Live, which I guess is part of the fun. I work well under pressure. But this morning I woke up and I had this idea of using this beautiful hydrangea paper and making an Easter basket because it is that time of year. So let me just show you this basket, and it's actually pretty easy to make. I am using my scoring tool, which is perfect for making something like this because you're going to do quite a bit of scoring. And I will put these measurements on my blog when I post these. These should go up. These projects will be posted tomorrow on my blog, so you can refer to that for the measurements. So this is just a 6x6 square of designer paper, and I'm going to do some scoring at 1 7/8 and 4 1/8. I'm going to turn this and do the same thing, 1 7/8 and 4 1/8. And when you're using designer paper, you don't have to push too hard. In fact, you don't want to push super hard because you can tear the paper. All right, so now what I'm going to do is leave it right where it is, and I'm going to do some scoring. I'm going to score at 5/8, and I'm just going to go down where this intersects that score line that's going this way. I'm going to score at 1 1/4, just down to where that line is. 4 3/4 all the way over here. And then 5 3/8. And these little lines are the eighths, so I just count over 1 2 3. And again, right down to that score line. And actually what would help, what I should have done is, before I started doing that scoring, is to fold this, because then I can see where my lines are. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that on this side. So I'm going to do the same thing. And sometimes it's actually easier, depending on what paper you're using, sometimes it's easier to score on the back side. So I'm going to do that now because you may be able to see better what I'm doing. So my first score line is going to be at 5/8 inch. I'm just going to go down there to that line. 1 1/4, right there, down to there. And then over here, 4 3/4 and 5 3/8, just down to that score line. Then I'm going to take a pen. I could use a marker, anything like that. I have a pen here, so I'm going to use that. And I'm just going to make a dot at 3 inches so I can see that. And I'm going to do the same thing, turn this around and do the same on the opposite side. All right, so my scoring is done. So I can set this aside. One of the things I love about our scoring tool is that it has a place right here to keep your scoring tool. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, and I do think I'm going to cut this. This is going to be the inside of my basket, but it's easier for me to see where my scoring lines are on this white side as opposed to this side. So I'm going to just go ahead, and what I'm going to do is just cut these little strips right up to that fold line there, which is right where I stopped the scoring when I was doing these. So I'm going to do these strips. This is a cute little basket if you're having a gathering. I don't know if people will be gathering together for Easter, but this would be adorable to put at everyone's place for your Easter dinner. And it's actually pretty quick and easy. Once you make one. All right, so now what I'm going to do is, here's my little 3-inch mark that I made. I'm going to angle this. I'm just going to go from here over to this corner here. I'm going to make like this will be a triangle shape. Pull that out, and then I'll do the same thing here. Oh, and I've got, you know what, I didn't cut these. I got to cut these strips. And I'm going to go from the tip there over to this corner. And then here, same thing. So you're going to end up, and my triangles are kind of deformed, but it'll still work. My stuff's always crooked and funny, but it works. Okay. So now I'm going to just fold all these edges up. I need to get rid of that piece. And then now it's easy. So what you're going to do is just pull these little strips in towards the center, and they actually, it makes it look, it's going to look like a little basket. Like this. And I'm going to pull my corner up, my triangle up, and just fidget with these a little bit so that they all fit. And I'm going to do it like that. So I do those 3, and I'm just kind of folding them up together. And it's just the top one's on the bottom, and then the middle one, and then the last one. And then I'm just going to take my fingers and like push this down like that. And then I'm going to take a little stapler and just catch all those edges. So that's going to hold the whole thing together. And then you do the same thing here. And again, so these top ones are going to go under, and then the next panels, the next strips. And then the bottom ones. Like that. Just kind of get those in the right direction and adjust them a little bit, because you want to be sure that all the edges are there. It looks like that. And really what I realize is they don't have to be perfectly positioned. You just sort of get them, but these look pretty good. It's pretty easy to do. And like I said, once you make one, you'll get the idea. So I'm going to staple that, and look how sweet it is already. Then of course we need to add a handle. And so for the handle, I'm using this same designer paper. I just thought this hydrangea paper was springy and kind of perfect for an Easter basket. All right, so I have my tear and tape. I'm just going to attach this. This is going to go right here on the front, so I'm covering up my staple. And I'll pull this around to the back. Oh, I see Cindy asking about my hydrangeas. It's only bloomed one time. So the trick is, and I love gardening. The trick is not to cut the hydrangea down in the fall, because the blooms grow on dead wood, on the dead stems or whatever. I don't know if you trim them down, but that's the trick that I know about hydrangeas. I think it also might depend on your soil and that sort of thing. All right, so now I'm going to take, this is one of the stitch circles, and let me show you. I'm using this adorable bunny from the Springtime Joy stamp set, and I'm going to use Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And I'm just going to stamp her, this sweet little bunny, right on this circle. Okay, and she's just adorable. Okay, and first thing I'm going to do with this sweet little bunny, isn't she cute? I'm going to give her a little bit of color on her cheeks, and I'm just going to use a teeny bit of color. This is light petal pink, and I want it to be super soft, so I'm going to take my color lifter and just soften her little cheeks because I want it to be just really soft. And the color lifter, it'll dry. I'm going to give it a minute to dry, and then I'll hold this up. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and add some color to her little floral wreath. And this, I'm going to use dark soft sea foam. You could actually use any color with this. So those are the little leaves. And then I'm going to use Highland Heather, light and dark. And I'll start with the light. And I normally use the fine tip of my Stampin' Blend. So I'm going to start with these two light ones. And then I'll use the dark Highland Heather for the other two, just to create a little bit of contrast. So cute. So I'm going to hold this up to the camera so you can see, see if I can get it to focus in a little. There we go. See how soft her cheeks are? By using that color lifter, I was able to just do a real soft pink blush on her cheeks, and it just makes her look adorable. Okay, then I also have, I stamped this flower. There's two different flowers, the tulip and then this little flower, and I chose this one because it does match her little floral wreath on her head. So I'm going to add some color to this as well, and I'm going to do this in light Highland Heather. So this I stamped. There are not dies that go with this Springtime Joy stamp set, but it's not too hard to cut that out. Whoop, stick into my fingers. And then I think I might do just a little bit of the dark Highland Heather in the center of that flower there. I must have sticky fingers because everything's sticking to it. And then I'm going to bring in the light again and just pull that dark just to blend it in a little bit. So you can still see the dark, but it's just blended in. Okay. And then I'll just quickly add some color to the leaves on the stem. And I'm going to pop this up right beside my little bunny. That's going to go, I'll just put that right there like that. And then this will be attached to the front of my basket. How adorable. Isn't that sweet? So I'm going to put 2 dimensionals on this just at the top and the bottom, just to attach it to the basket. Yes, Marcia, you do need the color lifter, and I will say I really never used it that much, and then Sandra convinced me that I needed to start using it, and it was a good idea. She is a smart lady. And all right, so then I'm going to take, I'm at the end of my bolt of ribbon here, so I'm just going to take this little piece, and to finish this, I'll just add a little bow. In this case, my ribbon's short. I have a finished one I'm going to show you, but I'm just going to add a little bit of ribbon at the top of this basket. And there is my cute little basket. I think she's so sweet. And so let me show you. Here's a finished one that I did, and I've added, you know, some shreds, and I just put a couple pieces of candy in there. Of course, I don't know how this happened, but the purple and the blue and the candy sort of goes with the designer paper, so that's always fun when that happens. So there's my little basket. Really, really pretty simple to make. So let me just bring in the cards I made today, so you can see. Oh, and you know, before I do that, I want to tell you about my class that I'm offering. Today is the last day to register, and it's my B-Box for March 2021, and it features the Springtime Joy Springtime Joy stamp set. If you don't have this stamp set, of course you could use any springy images that you might have from other stamp sets. But let me tell you what my class includes. It's $35, and it includes, I think it's about $26 in product. It includes a double packet of Baker's Twine, a packet of the Elegant Faceted Gems, and then a full packet. I just have kind of a hodgepodge here, but you would get a full packet of the Subtles 6x6 Designer Series paper stack. You would use these projects on your cards and have plenty left over. And then the class includes 6 different ideas, 6 card kits. So you would make 6 cards, and that is $35. I do a PDF tutorial for each of the projects, and I include, of course, measurements, so you can make more of the cards, and you can watch the video and follow along and stamp right with me. If you want to add the stamp set, the Springtime Joy stamp set, it would just be an additional $20, and that is catalog price, so you do get a break on shipping and tax on the stamp set. So let me just show you, this is just a quick little sneak peek of the cards. There's that sweet little purple bunny again. But the colors are just fun and springy and super cute. And today is the last day to register. So if you're interested, you can send me a quick email at laura@lauramilligan.com. I will put a registration link on this Facebook Live when I'm done here. But the best way is probably just to email me at this point. But today is the final day to register. I'll be placing an order tomorrow for all the parts and pieces for this class. So if you have questions at all, let me know. And my online classes have become really popular, and I have a fun time designing them and sharing them. So let me just bring in these are my 2 cards that I made today, and here's my sweet little Easter basket. So I want to thank you, of course, for joining me today. I will be back on Thursday with 1 or 2 other projects using the Hydrangea suite of products. So I hope you'll join me then Thursday at 1 o'clock. And I hope to see you then. Thank you for joining me today. And as always, I hope you have time to be creative. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.